Welcome back everyone to our gameplay series of Farming Simulator 22. It is 5:30 a.m. on a wonderful July morning, and with it being July, that can only mean one thing. It's time to harvest some wheat. So here you see our largest field number, I believe 56, is ready to be harvested. Now I have not checked on our other fields over there, but it kind of looks like, if this is any indication what I can see through the trees, that they are ready to harvest as well. But right now, we need to get busy harvesting our largest field. And in order to do that, we are going to need our combine. So let's hop in, because I returned our combine after we leased it last time. So let's hop over to harvesters, and let's see, which one do we want? Now, again, I'm a big CLAAS fan. What can we do with the 7150 here? What's our combination? We can get the 28 foot. I like that one. That should work. That should work. That may have even been what we used last time. I've already forgotten. All right, so the 7150. Let's go ahead and lease that. So 15 grand. Okay, so let's look at that combination one more time. The 3050. 28 foot Terraflex. Okay, let's go grab that. And headers. All right, there's the 25 foot Terraflex. There it is. The 3050 Terraflex 28 foot. So once again, we're going to lease this for about 2,500. Okay, so we've got the basic tools for the job. Let's actually hop in. Well, I thought I was going to hop right into it. There we go. So you notice I didn't worry too much about the configuration. We got the double front wheels. That is perfectly fine. Doesn't really make any difference to me. Might have saved us a little bit of money, but other than that, I am not terribly worried about it. All right, so we're going to try something here. We are, let's see, I would love nothing more than to be able to try to go the other direction. But as I get over here, there's just no room. I mean, you get over here, there's just nothing on either side. So you notice, all right, we're going to do a little crop destruction because I want to test this out. So that's fine. A little crop destruction, we got it. All right, so it just gives me, so the map creators gave us just enough room to back this bad boy in. Let's go ahead and see how this works. Let's see how much of the field that this guy will actually work based on this. Okay, so of course he's going to be up and going just fine. Now when he gets to the other side, obviously he's got a similar issue to deal with on that side of the field, but for the most part, once he gets about 3 rows deep, he should have a lot more room on both sides. So that's what I'm looking forward to most of all. You notice this guy is not spreading a swath. That's not an issue right now, because we're not going to be collecting that straw anyway. Okay, so if we hop back out, here is our trailer and our tractor. Now you might recognize this is the tractor we've been using for the other portion of our farm with the sheep to cut grass. So I've brought it back over. It is ready to go. I'm actually going to swing it out, and we're going to bring it right over here. All right, we're going to park him right there. All right, so I'm actually going to hop in because we're going to do a bit of a summary today. We're going to see where we've gotten to since we were last together. I mean, we are in July after all, so a few months have passed. I have been keeping water consistently in the greenhouses, so we're continuing to get money from that. We're sitting at about 250 grand. All right, so it looks like our other 2 fields down here are indeed ready to harvest, but we're going to verify that just to make sure. Now, obviously, we're not going to get to them today. In fact, we're not even going to have enough time to get done with our main field today, but we're going to get as much done as we can, and isn't that just a beautiful sight? And also another thing I want to talk with you guys about is sort of the future, where we are going to go, and that is beyond this particular map. So yeah, there you see it. You can see that we are ready to harvest on both of these maps. Of course, our greenhouses are just over there. You can barely see the tops of them, but they are working beautifully. All right, before we head over to the other farm for the sheep, let's actually pop back into the menu and let's take a look at the money first of all. So here you can see the last several months, and of course, anytime we go in and we start building either animal enclosures or production facilities, anything like that, land, all that, well, obviously we're going to have a losing month as far as the profit. But take a look at our sold products. You can see we have stabilized right around 60 grand. Now we're starting to produce a little bit of wool. That's why we're getting a little bit of extra income for the last couple of months as that continues to improve. I mean, let's be fair here. We've only got 60 sheep right now, so they're not producing a ton of wool. So as that continues to improve, this number will continue to increase. And of course, sheep are going to be producing wool year round. So we're not going to have to worry too much about that. And we got plenty of grass for them. But our money is actually going along quite nicely. Again, we're always looking to expand, but I am very happy with where that is. Now we come back into the calendar just to remind you that we've got 2 days here. We've got July and August in order to get all of our harvesting done. For us, that's 3 fields. So I don't believe that's going to be a huge issue for us. But then immediately right after in September and October, we're back to the planting season. So that's where our fields are going to be. But if we take a look real quick, let's go back up to the top here for a second. And let's take a look at our bread production. Obviously, our flour production has been done for quite some time. So our grain mill was very efficient and very quick about getting the processing done. However, our bread production, not so much. We have seen this bread production be very slow, but if you'll notice where it's at right now, look at where the indicator at. We're just below halfway. And so what that tells me is if we build one more bakery, that should be perfect if we want the bread to last an entire year, so that each year when it's time for us to harvest again, we're just now running out of flour and thus running out of bread to sell. And I'm okay with that. I know we have talked multiple times about having a total of 3 bakeries, but right now, after seeing where this has all landed out, I'm thinking 2 is going to be pretty good. Now 3, if we wanted to completely make sure that we got all of our money not only within the full year, but actually probably within about 8 or 9 months, then certainly we could do that. But right now I feel like it's added cost that we don't need. But we need to go ahead and get that up and running. So let's actually hop back over to the other field now that we've confirmed that we are indeed ready to harvest. And I don't want to spend the money on any extra equipment, so no extra combines and whatnot, because then we really start to eat into our profits a good bit. So let's head back over. And remember, we've talked about this open area on the sides of the field and various different possibilities for it. Well, today, I believe our best use for it is going to be for this bakery. So what I'm going to try to do is fit this bakery right up in this area as best I can, with room for hopefully another bakery beside it if we should have that need. And again, we're going to talk more about future plans here in a little bit. Let's see, our guy is, nope, he's still moving, so he's not full. So we're perfectly fine there, at least for a few minutes. So construction, if we go to production, and then the very first one for us is the bakery. All right, so if we take a look, now here's our player character right here, just to give you some idea of scale. Let's actually swing this guy around. And then I'm going to swing this camera around as well. All right, so here's our existing bakery. You can see that it looks a little bit different, doesn't it? I mean, this thing looks quite a bit different. In fact, let me just come back out for just a moment. Let's make sure we're doing this right. Bakery. It's a little odd that it looks so different, but we definitely don't need another grain mill. All right, I'm convinced it's the same thing. So now let's come back in production, bakery, and let's see, where are we here? Let's turn this around just a little bit more. We're going to put it right up in these people's backyard. All right, so right about there. Does that work? Okay, so there's our bakery. Again, a nice little area. It'd be nice if we could go inside, at least to, in some respect. But, all right, so let's actually go and do some managing. So is it going to keep these separate? Yes, it is. All right, so let's go ahead and activate the bread. Now, of course, right now it is missing materials, and that's perfectly fine. It's not enough money for us to worry about right now. I'm more or less trying to future-proof this. Now, I would really prefer it to put all my bakeries next to each other, but I see what it's doing to this point. The order that you place them in the world and or purchase them is the order you get. So, not my first choice, but hey, we got what we got. So, my plan is to have the flour split between these two bakeries. Now, is that what's going to happen? I have no idea. That's what we're going to find out. So we're going to have this default to selling, which should match the same thing we're doing up here. And we've got our wheat flour is being distributed. Okay, so everything is good to go there. And in fact, it fit quite nicely, and it's not going to get in the way of our combine. Even if we put 2 of these, I think we're still going to be fine. All right, so I see that, all right, he made it a pretty good ways before he had to stop this first time. And the absolute best thing of all is that we're not going to have to drive over the crop in order to get this thing taken care of. Okay, that is wonderful. All right, so let's get out here. This is where it would really be nice if we could do some sort of a circular function to where he would always keep the pipe extended away from the crop. All right, so we're going to let this guy go ahead and fill up. And while he's doing that, no reason to really take this guy over to the grain mill, except the fact that I would kind of like to get production going to see how this thing is going to work. But business is underway, and I like it. All right, so let's make sure this guy gets everything done. It gets back underway. So yeah, there's some of those weeds I can see poking out. Lesson learned there. So we'll try to do better in the future. Okay, so just for my own purposes, let's actually go ahead and have this guy, I'm going to start him right over here on the side. Just to get him off the field and put him in the direction that I believe he needs to go. Okay, so let's bring up the AI menu. So we just want deliver. I wish we could do load and deliver, but it's not going to work for this application. So just deliver, and we want him to go to the grain mill. And this is where I really wish that we could select this and then select something on the map in order to make this happen. But there we go, grain mill. So right up here at the grain mill, and then loading position should be right where we're sitting. All right, let's make sure here. And sure enough, yeah, you can see the marker is right there on top of us. We do want it to be looping. That way he'll actually come back. Okay, so now we're going to hop out, let this guy get to work. And so my hope at this point is that once the grain mill gets to work, so if we come back into this screen, we'll go to the bottom. And so the grain mill, I need it to actually send flour over to both of the bakeries. Hopefully it will do that automatically. If it doesn't, then, well, we just wasted some time and money with multiple bakeries, but I really, really need it to do that because of some future plans that I've got that we're going to talk about here in just a few minutes. All right, but right now you can see flour. In fact, I'm going to write this number down. 26,841. All right, so that's how much flour we've got. And of course, it'll be a little bit different next time around as it's going to continue working through that. But if that number goes up by quite a bit and none comes over here, then we'll have our answer about whether or not it is going to actually divide out. Let's actually come back into, I still do not quite trust the AI. So we're going to keep a little track on this guy. At least we're going to try to. All right, but right now, we want to head back up to the other farm. So I'm going to actually hop into the spinnery. Let's go ahead and visit. Now, you notice, we talked about this a little bit last time, of the placement of some of these buildings, the way the leveling was done is, well, it's weird, to put that simply. So it's not exactly the way I would like it, but once again, I feel like I've learned some lessons through all of this. Now, we've got some wool sitting here, so if we come back in, let's take a quick look down here. Of course, we know these are at the bottom. All right, so the fabric wool, okay, it has completely run out here at the spinnery, but we've got some sitting here waiting. So let's go ahead and pop in. We're going to pick this up. Now this is going to be very difficult to do because we're sort of sitting on the side of a hill here. And so for anyone wondering, this is my least favorite task to do in Farming Simulator. It's the least favorite thing I can think of is loading pallets. And that's usually because it just does not work out. Why can I not get this guy to turn? Oh, he's on the edge here. Yep. I was worried that might be the case. Yep, we're going to have to go around to the other side. I did not want to do that. I thought I was going to have enough room there. But just one of the additional pains, you can see this guy does not like any sort of change in elevation. Like, at all. Oh, good gracious. Come on, game. Work with me at least a little bit here. This is why I didn't want to come to the other side. You see that little lip there? That is a tremendous pain. So, developers, it would have been nice had you thought about that and some of the possible issues. All right, there we go. It barely gives us enough room. Now, the good news is, when I take this over to the side, you can see it disappears pretty quick. So we don't have to do a whole lot with it. That's why I've got them so close together. Because we're going to run into the exact same issue here momentarily with this one. Okay, you see we've got our additional grass sitting there. We have plenty of grass over here to handle a lot more sheep. All right, there we go. Let's work our way around. Yeah, none of these placements were as I had originally intended. All right, so once we get over here, there we go. So let's hop back off, come back in, and now we have right at 900 wool that is in here. That'll be converted over to fabric, and then the fabric is being distributed over to the tailor shop, which will then get busy turning that into clothes. So we don't have a whole lot to show for our efforts in that area so far, but everything is working as intended. Now back to our field. In fact, as we look out, here is where we combined the fields. This is where the road was. And you can see not a sign of it. There are some rocks here. Those came from when we actually planted the grass. So we've got a few rocks there. I'm just going to leave them there. We could get rid of them with the stone implement, but I'm going to leave them and see if it actually makes any difference, because so far I don't believe it has. But yeah, you can see working this as one continuous field. In fact, the last time that I mowed the grass on this field a couple of months ago, the AI did indeed work it as one continuous field, but for some reason they stopped working about right here. This is as close as they got when they were working the field, which was odd. So all of these rows going in this direction were me. I finished off the field. I finished off all of this because the AI only worked down to about right here. I'm still not exactly sure why. There's a couple of possibilities, but either way, I mean, that is missing quite a bit of the field. So I'm not terribly thrilled with the AI at this point, and I am desperately needing course play for the future. I mean, course play is everything with the way I like to run a farm. Now, if you're wondering why we have so much grass over there but no grass over here, that's because it's already been brought up by the forage wagon. So I've already got it, so we're good there. But I've left the rest of the grass on the field because next time we cut grass, it will still be there waiting. So everything looking good there. I've also done some additional work over here. So you might remember last time we were together, there was quite a bit of debris over here from some of the trees I'd cut down. That has now been whittled down to this, and I've done some more work there. Same thing here on the other side. I've gotten rid of a few trees over here, making for some open land. And the reason I did that is because I wanted to have room for some expansion, some additional buildings, so that we could have room for one or two buildings maybe in this area, a building over here, maybe a building here. And then, since we can't use any of these buildings for any purpose, maybe a building or two right in this area if I get rid of this tree. And then possibly something else over in this corner as well. So I'm trying to think ahead a little bit. However, I will tell you, can we pick this up? We can't? Oh, and we can use that to get up on top maybe. There's probably a collectible up there if I'm guessing. But those are some of the things I've been thinking about. I started building in this area off to the side. I wanted to build around and then down this side, but very quickly I realized it's so glitchy over here with the trees and the building that that's probably not going to be a long-term plan for us. In fact, oh, there goes our tractor. So I guess he did make it in time. Always just makes me feel good inside. It makes me feel like the world is alive when I see the traffic going, particularly when it's our traffic from the farm. So we've got our AI workers. So let's see. Does this guy have, oh, he has no flour. Okay, not yet. That's what we're going to look at. How about that? All right, 26,817. Okay, so nope, none has been added because these guys are working with flour, or about to be working with flour. I forgot to activate that. So 10,500 right now in there, and of course that's going to lead to a lot of flour, and we are going to see how that works itself out. So that's where we are right now on the farm. But yes, everything is going amazingly well. And I can't wait to see how some things work out. It looks a little bit different than it did when we first got here and bought this land. Of course, there you can see there's our mower that I've left ready to go once again. All right, let's actually hop back over. We've got the AI is on his way back. Let's just hitch a ride with him, and then we'll see where we're at on the combine as soon as we get back over to the field. So while we're headed back over, let's talk a little bit about the future of this series. So since the game has been released and I've had an opportunity to do some different things in the game, a few things have become pretty obvious to me. And one of those is that, in fact, let's just go ahead and take care of that. And because it looks like this guy is ready to be emptied again. Unfortunately, we're going to have to destroy some crops this time around. So that is unfortunate, but at least he's close enough to the edge that we can just sort of pull through there. Alright, there we go. But yeah, I always hate to destroy those crops. And I really don't want to turn the option off in the menu because I kind of like the idea of it. It makes me think twice about just running across fields with equipment. At least our fields. Anyway, But back to our discussion about the future. One of the things that's really begun to become obvious to me is this map is going to be small. The fields are very small, even after combining them. Some of the fields are very small. The areas with the prefabs and so on are in the way. There's a lot going on here. And I'm thinking overall, this is just not where our best playthrough and our most fun is going to be had. I think we're going to have a lot more fun overall with a bigger map, a 4X map that is laid out quite a bit better. So I've already been looking for some different maps. There's not really a whole lot out there other than maybe some initial conversions of FS19 maps, but I'm on the lookout for a new map, a bigger 4X map with some larger fields, more wide open space, because this really doesn't fit my play style as much as I would like. Because my play style, especially now that we have production chains, what I want to do is go much bigger. Bigger fields, more production buildings, assuming that this works out. So here in just a few minutes, we are going to, in fact, I'm going to go ahead and speed up time a little bit. We're going to go to 10x on the speed. We're just now at 6 a.m. It's actually pretty bright out here for 6 a.m., quite frankly, even in the summertime for my area of the world. But I want to go everything bigger, more animals, more production buildings, and really just amp up the production in a big way. That's just the way I prefer to do things. Nothing against small maps. It's just not the way I like to do things. Everything is sort of crammed in here. It is a pleasant enough map. The graphics are quite nice. I got zero problem with any of that. It's just that I would prefer nice big fields so we can have more animals, more production buildings, more of everything. That's the way I like it. So hopefully we can find a suitable map here before too long and we can transition our gameplay over to it. But who knows how long that will be? I have no idea. But until then, we are absolutely going to go strong on this map. All right, so this guy is, where is he? He is, what are we going to call that? That's actually just past halfway. Is that right? Yeah, I guess it is. I guess it is. You can see the number as I am almost on top of the number of the field. They generally like to put that somewhere around halfway. And sure enough, here we are. About halfway as far as the width of the field. Yeah, that'll work. That will work. Okay. So now let's hop in. Let's take a quick glance here at our flour. You can see it's distributing flour. Let's actually just go down here first. And okay, it says it's selling. Okay, good. Good, good, good. That means it had some flour. Okay, good. That is amazing. That's what I was hoping for. So while more testing might be needed to see if it actually divides it out as well as we need it to, I will at least have to say that it looks like it is, yeah, it's going to hold quite a bit more before it distributes any of it. But yeah, it looks like at least on a base level, it's working. And that makes me happy because I am envisioning a map where I can line up multiple bakeries side by side and we can have 3, 5, 10 bakeries lined up. Same thing with grain mills. We can have 2, 3, 4 grain mills lined up for all the fields that we're working simultaneously with our wheat, barley, oats, and sorghum. That's what I'm envisioning. Same thing with our cows, with sheep, you name it. I want to do it all, but I want to do it on a big, wide open map. Just my play style, and hopefully we are able to accomplish that here pretty soon. Right now, I'm just sort of waiting for this flour to hop down to 0. I assume that would happen every few minutes of game time, maybe every hour of game time. So we'll see how that works out because I want to hop back down and see how the selling is going. Now, at some point throughout the year, not right away, but throughout the year, we're going to hit a time where the flour is actually going to be full here or very close to it. So the other bakery might have to take on some additional, and that's perfectly fine. I figured that was coming at the very beginning. So let's hop back up here. I really want to see when this comes out and how much of it is released. I really don't want to crank up the time anymore because I'm afraid that I'm going to end up missing it if I hop out to do that too much. But I may have to do that because I'm a little bit impatient like that when I'm trying to learn these things. I don't have all of the patience that might be necessary. All right, so we're at 4:30. Okay, so you can see we are at... All right, let's go ahead. Yeah, that'll speed it up a little bit. I'm assuming it's going to do this every hour, as I mentioned. So let's get it right up to the edge. And then we will let it happen here in just a second. There we go. So now we're going to be right at 600. There we go. So now it did indeed. So we were right at 600. And okay, so it actually sent more over. So 376 got sent over. I'm going to assume actually that that's probably about half, that it finished up another cycle probably and added some more. So it does look like it is dividing that out. So mission accomplished. And this guy's done. He's ready to go again? Yikes. I did not remember having to empty him quite that much, but keep in mind, things are a little bit different this time around. One thing that is very different, we had max fertilizer this time around. I'm not sure what our percentage of fertilization was last time. And once again, it makes me cringe having to drive over my crops. I don't like it. But, all right, I did get in the right spot. Yeah, okay. So you're going to give me the benefit of the doubt here, game. Thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, we had max fertilization on, which means it greatly increases the yield. Now, we did have some weeds in here, so that hurts the yield. But overall, I think we're going to have quite a bit larger yield than we did last time. All right, so he's not going to quite be able to fully empty because, yeah, there we go. So you're going to get 100%. Okay, so now let's go ahead and bring up the menu once again. Let's do create a job. And where is it? Okay, there you can see our loading position. We learned our lesson last time. So deliver to the grain mill and start the job. Okay, I'll hop out and let him go on about his business and do what he needs to do because we are running low on time today. Trying to keep these videos as much as I can, somewhere between 30-35 minutes, as much as possible, and we have met our limit for today. So everything is going along, in fact, quite perfectly. We've got a new bakery. We are working on finishing up our largest field, field number, I believe 56 is the number on that one. I'll finish up this field, and when we come back next time, we'll be ready to work our final 2 fields of this cycle before it's time to start the process all over again by planting brand new wheat, or who knows, we might mix it up this time. We might plant some barley, sorghum, who knows where we might go from here. But that is going to do it for today. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and stick around for more Farming Simulator 22.